Hey guys, it is Storm here and welcome to Adventures with Storm. This week we are actually talking about the language, and just to give you a bit of background about me, I actually studied business and psychology with French at university. So I understand a lot of theory in regards to understanding how to pick up a language. Once you understand the structure of things, you really can get going quickly. So I'm going to share a few tips with you as to how I am currently learning Chinese. Let's go. So the first thing is actually understanding that language it's basically building blocks. You have subject, verb, object. So tip number one is to be intentional. You cannot learn anything without putting a plan in place. He who fails to plan plans to fail. Write your vision down and make it plain, because there's gonna be seasons when you're gonna think, wait, why am I doing this again? Because this is just long. Like, I remember today I was reading something and I was like, whoa, this is the first time this language is not actually easy. Wait, this gets hard? Like, literally, that was me this morning. But putting a plan in place, getting accountability is so crucial for this process, because learning a language is probably one of the hardest things you have to do, but it's also one of the most rewarding things, because it means that you are able to communicate effectively with the people around you. It shows a certain level of respect. My second tip is to just go and communicate. I cannot express enough. They know the language, we don't, and we have to continue to speak the language so that we can become accustomed to the tone, so that it doesn't just sound like bleh, doesn't just sound like, just random things. Once you start to listen and pay attention, you'll start to understand that, oh, this is a word, this is a word, this is a word. You might not understand exactly what it is saying or what they are saying, but you'll start to distinguish between words, which is a good start. Apps are a really helpful way to ensure that you are getting the most out of your learning. And I just wanted to share a few with you. So I use quite a few. Some of them are not as good, but they're free, and so they're easily accessible, which is really good. I like to use Duolingo sometimes. It was a good beginner or a good starting point. I like to use WeChat to translate on the go. It's really helpful if you want to just understand simple symbols. Oh, what's this? Oh, put my WeChat app, and I can translate that very quickly so that I can understand what it means. I like to use this website called Acapella Group, and it is great for pronunciation. HelloTalk I often use to communicate with other people. If I'm being honest, I mainly use it for French because that's what I studied at university, and it really helped me in terms of understanding structures and the way things are meant to be placed in a sentence. I like to use Hello Chinese. I think it's also quite good. I think it's slightly better than Duolingo for something like Chinese, because it's built for Chinese. Plus you can hear what they're saying a lot clearer, I personally think. One of my favorite apps, and the final one that I'm going to talk about, is actually an app called YouTalk, and it's basically like a game, and it helps you to actually enjoy your learning. And I feel like it's so important, because one of the hardest things to do whilst you're learning a language is to keep up with the rote learning. Rote learning is so irritating. It can be so frustrating because it's just so boring. Who wants to say the word, dongguan 50 times? No one wants to say that. But this app, honestly, for me, makes it so much fun to actually understand the language. I can actually sit there at night and it's almost like playing a game. Books. You need to get your work materials together. You need to get your materials together. Come closer. You need to get your materials together, because you can't build something without counting the cost. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if you want to become the best, bilingual speaker in the world, you can't do that by not having your materials and your ish together. We need to get it together. I'm going to say this I am preaching to myself. I am preaching to the choir, because we need to be able to make sure that we have materials on hand at all times. A variety of materials. Academic materials, physical materials, electronic materials, paper materials that I can actually carry to and from work, so that I can read it quickly on the train. Things that are accessible, because The language is all around me. I need to be able to continually immerse myself in the language. It needs to be applicable and it needs to be put in context. I need something that I can carry around with me, and I have these really cute cue cards which are really helpful. But then when I get to school and when I'm at home, I also have these practical workbooks that I can use. This really helps me to be a lot more intentional and serious about my education when it comes to learning the language. Because whether I like it or not, I have to put the work in, practically, theoretically, and just mentally as well. Just making sure that I am doing everything I can to learn this language. I say get a notebook. I know I'm running through these points, but I just don't want this video to be too long, but get a notebook. It is one of the most important things, because if you can read it, you can write it, and writing it will help you to retain and understand. There's a certain structure to how they write, and once you understand that structure and how different characters, link in certain ways and in certain phrases, then you'll begin to understand the sentence in its complexities. My second to last point is to get a tutor. Get a tutor. Tutors are very important because they can steward and guide your learning. Great learners are great teachers and vice versa. Get someone that you can learn from and submit under, because that means that you'll be able to ask them for advice and text them during the week and practice your language skills with them. Practice your pronunciation, which is so important with something like Chinese because it's a tonal language. And the final point is, and it's something that I say to my students all the time, it's so corny, but try your best. And trying your best actually means putting all of the effort in. I've learned so much from my students when it comes to language, because I see the ones that actually want to learn get so much more out of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I hope to see you soon, and I will definitely see you